Welcome to Mediumship Matters, the podcast dedicated to spiritual growth, connection, and the reality of working with spirit. This season is proudly sponsored by Spirit Social, the brand new online community for the spiritually curious. It's a space where you can connect, share experiences, and access exclusive content without the noise of mainstream social media. With live events, expert insights, and a supportive community, Spirit Social is the place to deepen your journey. Take part in the free 6-month trial by visiting spiritsocial.co or downloading the app from the App Store now. Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah McIntyre. How are you doing? I have a very special guest today. My friend, my colleague, the wonderful, incredible little ray of light and charm that is Ann Traynor from Dublin, Ireland. Hi, Annie.
Oh, hi, Hannah. This is surreal. This is a moment. I want to be in the gravity of this. This is very special indeed. Thank you so much for having me on.
Really, really excited to have you on. Really excited to talk to you. I know that you've had quite a journey. I know it's still ongoing, as all journeys are.
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning. No surprises there. Tell us about how it all started. How did you end up in this crazy world?
Okay. I ended up in this crazy world officially in 2017 when I was Reiki attuned. But previously to that, I had a hysterectomy in 2016, which was a major surgery. And I'd had a series of surgeries. I was like put asleep more times than I should have been asleep, basically.
Mm.
And this was the, it was like I couldn't take anymore. My body couldn't take anymore. I was on a lot of medications. And then there was another surgery that I had to have gone into the doctor's office in 2017, a year later. And I was struggling with severe IBS. And I had one of those matrix moments where everything just slows down in that office. And you know, when your body just won't accept something. I know that now, what it was. And he just said, listen, Anne, we're going to have to get you in again for surgery. And I just went, no, I can't do this no more. Can't do it. But that was my first day that I had my first vision in my mind's eye, which was the chakra system. And I didn't know what it meant. I thought, I assumed, the circles, the wheels of light.
Yeah.
I thought it was to go to yoga and stuff. And, I'm too quick for yoga. It's too slow for me. I did try it, however. And I came home and I was researching about what would happen during this surgery. And I was just like, no, I can't do it. And then I saw the imagery again. And then I found out it was chakras. And I like didn't go down the rabbit hole then, but I was at a workshop a week later. And we went for lunch afterwards. A bit of a click going on. I felt a bit lost going into this workshop and did it anyway. And we all sat around for lunch afterwards and they started talking about astrology, tarot, chakras, Reiki, all the stuff that I'm into now. And I was sitting there going, oh my God, what is this? It was in English, but I couldn't understand it. I know that sounds weird. I just couldn't understand their lingo. I wasn't in a great place mentally, emotionally at the time. And when I asked the girl beside me, so what is this chakra anyway? Because chakra just seemed to stick out that day. And the girl at the other end of the table said, Anne doesn't know what a chakra is. I don't know how she heard me because I was literally just asking, she was a good bit away from me. And I felt stupid. I felt a little bit lost. I was like, oh my God, I just wanted the ground to open up. But I investigated. I wanted to know more because I knew everyone around that table, they had their shit together, Hannah. Well, that's what I thought, that they had their shit together. They knew what they were doing. And I was just there really struggling at the time, But it was one of those moments that will never leave me, that feeling. And I would hate for anyone to feel that, or dislike, hate's a very strong word, for anyone to feel what I felt. I just want everyone to know, you know. Yeah, so I had a Reiki treatment a week later. These were all Reiki masters. So I was in the energy of all these Reiki masters and um, went for a Reiki treatment the following week. The girl, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't Google it, didn't do any research, just went in on these girls' words. And the girl says to me, I'm going to go in and get you a glass of water. I'll be back in a few minutes. Can you just lay up on the plinth? And I said, do I leave my clothes on, my top on? And she said, leave your clothes on. I'll be in a minute. So I didn't know. I was totally clueless. I didn't know it was a massage or whatever. I just didn't know what it was. And then she came in and started talking to me, started calling in the guides in her lovely tone. And I was like, what the hell is this? And she said, you can call anyone that you like to be with you at this time. And I didn't know what she meant. So I said out loud, I don't know what that means. What do you mean by that? And she said, anyone that's passed can call in. And I was like, wow, that's just something happened in that moment. And then, of course, I sent a thought out to my dad, my dad had been long past at this stage. And all of a sudden, he was there. And I was like, the emotion, everything just came up in that moment. And I was just like, how special was that? I didn't even know that we could do that. And then in that treatment, my hands lifted up off the bed and synchronized the whole way, all the way down through my body. And the practitioner was like, just go with it. It's okay. Not explaining to me what was happening. I was just like, is this normal? She said, yeah, it's okay. But I know now it was opening up channels within my etheric field. It was very special. And then she said at the end of it, I'm teaching next weekend. I feel that you should be at this course. And in my humanness, I just thought it was all about money. She just wanted more money off me because it was quite expensive to get the Reiki treatment.
Mhm.
And then I just went, you know what? I'm going to go. And the rest is history. And here we are.
I love it. I love it. So obviously you're a Reiki master, you teach Reiki. I know you've got other strings to your bow too that we will dive into, but Reiki is a big energy for you and it's been a big presence ever since then. So how did you go from, because obviously you've arrived at this crazy ass destination, so what was the workshop on? That's the first thing I want to ask. That first workshop where all the girls were not including you in the way
It
that.
was, it was a meditation. He did a meditation on us and he called me out at the end of it and he said, don't ever get hypnotized because my body was literally rattling on the floor on the mat. And I was laughing because I had been hypnotized before by Keith Barry on stage. So be highly influenced to energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just a meditation, and I thought I wasn't able to do it because my mind was so busy. But I did. I allowed myself to go there, which is,
So meditation, then you end up having a Reiki treatment because everyone's talking about Reiki.
yeah.
You've had this vision of the chakra system, but you don't know what it is. Tell us the story from you doing Reiki 1 to becoming a master to then deciding that you want to teach, because that must be a huge leap too.
Yeah, it was a huge leap. So we'll go back to the doctor's office and him saying that I need to have this surgery. Then I educated myself about chakras and stuff. And then, of course, the Reiki initiation and the weekend. Um, I educated myself on the chakra system because I didn't want to have the surgery. So it was kind of like, let's
Mhm.
do this. And I reversed everything. I didn't have to have the surgery. It's a real Madame Takata story. It really is. The surgery is not necessary. And I reversed everything. I came off the medication because of my belief in myself that I could do this. Yeah, so I went to the level 1, went forward for the level 2 and level 3. It was just a natural progress for me just to keep going. And I remember having a conversation with one of my friends saying, oh, Masters is on and such date. Are you ready to do it? Because she was doing the journey with me. And she's like, no, I don't want to teach. And I was like, well, I don't want to teach either. I said, do we not just have to do it? And she's like, no, I'm stopping here with the journey. I think that you're going to be a teacher. And I was like, no, I'm not going to be. I just want to complete it because it's in me to commit hit the Capricorn in me. I
Yeah.
just had to keep going with it and to tie it off and to finish it off. But I had no intentions of becoming a teacher. But I learned so many different things off the different teachers that I had, what I liked about it, what I definitely didn't like some things about it. And I was like, okay. But it was me that did all the work, the process, the learning. And then I would have done one-on-ones all the time. And everyone was saying, why don't you teach it? Why don't you do a weekend? And I was really nervous about it, but I did it and I cried during it. We laughed. They went through the whole process with me. And I was just like, then the students just kept, could I just advertise it? And then I had the students. And it's actually the students that brought me forward. I would have just kept teaching a Reiki one. And then the students were like, oh yeah, you're doing level two now. And I was like, oh my God, I have to get ready for level two. So I wasn't even thinking like that. And then when it came to masters, I had done a vision board and I said, I'll start teaching masters in 2023. And then I felt I wasn't ready. I was like, no, I'm not ready. And then somebody got in touch with me for Reiki Masters in the January because that was on my vision board saying, listen, and she hadn't done my level one or two. She just came for Masters and it was a one-on-one experience, but it was very, very special indeed. And yeah, that was it. Then I was ready. So the
I love it.
yeah,
They always find a way to get you, don't they?
yeah, absolutely.
And so, what would you say has changed in your belief system or approach or your teaching and obviously don't give it all away. You want people to come for the courses, but
Yeah,
Annie T, the teacher now, what has changed for you? What shifted?
everything. Everything about me and myself and me, myself, and I, the three threads of past, present, future. It's just adapting as I'm going. Everything is kind of changing as I'm changing, as I'm evolving. But it is different because I've written the manuals, of what I feel they should know. And it was you, Hannah, that made that okay for me because I was listening to a podcast of yours and you were talking about the manuals that you had written yours. And I was like, oh my God, because I got into so much trouble over that with the community, with the Reiki community. They weren't happy about me doing that. They were like, no, it has to be this this book. It has to be and I said, no, I'll keep all the tradition in it, but I want to make it my own. How you're not letting me be authentic. You're not letting me be me. So I had major distractions, disruptions along the way with everybody, with the teachers. And I was like, no, it just felt right and I had to fight for it. But it got me into a very low place because there was so much backlash about it. And then it was
Mm.
like, oh, it was huge. It was massive. It was kind of like, then you're not allowed in our lineage anymore, kind of thing. So there was a massive thing for me have to fight for that and go, no, I don't want to start my own lineage. I'm in this lineage. So I felt I was being cast aside, but I had to fight for it all the time. But I did leave all, obviously, the traditional stuff that needed to be in it. And yeah, it's worked out for me, and everyone, the students are happy they're using the manual now as well. So it's been great. But to get it out there and to do that was pretty brave indeed. So I was like, yeah, did it.
That's really hard. Just for
Mm.
anyone listening, the
Yeah,
lineage is it's like the family tree of Reiki, and
yeah,
every Reiki master gets their lineage that goes back to Mikao Uzui, who created the Uzui Reiki system.
yeah,
Now, I find this really fascinating. Obviously, I've got used to being a renegade now, but it was hard at the beginning because all we really want is acceptance, isn't it? We want to be in a community, we want to be with our people. But it's
yeah,
always really hard to me when that community doesn't want to evolve. Like, of course, the teaching should shift and change. Of course, the teaching should be personal to the teacher and their experiences because we're all here saying we're on a path of evolution and learning and growing.
yeah.
What we're not supposed to use that. Fascinating.
Yeah, so that was a massive thing for me. So I was in throes with the Reiki community here going, no, why can't I change it? Why can't I do this? And then I said I'd gotten my own symbol at level two. So then I was asking, can I give this to my students for level three? And they were like, no. And I said, well, 2014, a new symbol came out. Where did that come from? That didn't come from you, Suey. Where did that come from? So yeah, so I questioned all that as well. I was just like, what the hell? But if you can trace back the tree to Usui Takata Hayashi, that's it. That's
Yeah.
all you need to do. I don't know, understand all these my lineage. That's just ego, I think. We're all part of the oneness. Once you can trace back your teachers on that tree, that's all you need to know. It's a little bit Star Trekky, this generational stuff. But I did a lot of research on it. I went down that rabbit hole with the whole generational stuff. You're not going to find my name online through Usui and whatever, but you're not going to find everybody's name there. You're just going to find your core teacher. She's got to be in that trunk that connects to the teachers of the 22 Masters of Takata and so forth. Yeah, so it is a little bit Star Trekky, but it's wonderful. I love it. Reiki, and it depends on what you want from Reiki or what you need. It's what you need at that time. To me, it's everything because it was life changing. It was a game changer for me. For me to reverse having that surgery was massive. So I have a huge belief in it. So it's more than just Reiki. It's just everything. It's my anchor. It's my core. It's what I do. It's what I'm good at. And what I have learned about myself is that's my mission state. And what I know about Reiki, I'm gonna pass on to you. But it's so much more than just Reiki. It's so much more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course. It reminds me of the mafia, to be honest, the way everyone's got, I'm from the family. And you go, which family? They go, well, not the one you're in. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Talking of family,
Yeah. Go on.
obviously I've met your wonderful family. Um, what were they all like? Your husband Mark
Yeah.
like what, mum's gone on this crazy adventure after being so unwell. What were their thoughts? How was that for you?
So they didn't like it. That was another little battle, because I was like, everybody should be doing Reiki. I was putting symbols into the food, into their drinks, into their lunches, and to see me doing this, and they'd be like, "Mom, please don't do that." And I'm like, "Girls, you've no idea. See the meaning of that symbol." And listen, I'm not like that now, but at the beginning, it was full on. It was pretty intense in the house because Mark was like, "What the hell? Where's my wife?" And I'm like, "Mark, I'm not sick anymore. I'm kind of reclaiming parts of me here, Now the fruits of the labor, it's coming around now, but it was messy. It was, I was crying quite a lot going into states of being, breaking down, which I know now that are breakthroughs. But yeah, it was a massive breakdown at the start because you're just breaking down yourself, The whole lingo, I always remember as well the word ego. I didn't understand. Like, I felt really clueless. And I was like, ego. So I used to ask, well, I was asking everyone I met, what's ego to you? Because everyone had a different perception of it. And I thought that was fascinating. If I didn't understand the word, I'd start questioning my family about it, going, do you know what this means? Do you know what that means? And they're like, yeah, do you know? And I was like, no. And then I was like, oh my God, I've got this huge ego. So then I realized I was quite egotistic, and I was like, oh, I need to come out of that. It was just I was in survival. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that was massive as well,
So
massive.
there's so much to it, isn't there?
I
So
like
much more, you do this little course on a weekend and you go, that was nice. And then you come away and your whole life crumbles and everything you thought you knew about yourself. It is work. It's definitely work.
Yeah, there's a psychology to it as well, isn't there? Because
Mm.
behavior, your personality, and yeah, there's just loads to it. And of course, breaking down the chakras. Breaking down the chakras was massive for me because that's the foundations upon self. So it was the work on each of those chakras that I needed to do, going back down to the source, to the root cause of the pain or the struggling, what I was struggling with in that time.
In fact, that's kind of my next question
Yeah.
is you talk, obviously I've deep dived on your website. It's beautiful. You
Thank
talk about living through energy, recognizing your strengths and weaknesses through the chakra system.
you.
Did you begin working with your chakras in a practical way, or how did you do that? And what advice would you give to someone hearing chakras for the first time?
So yeah, they're like your psychic centers. They're your process centers. You've got to, everything that you are doing in your now, you've got to process that in your past as well. So just say I was going back down to root chakra. I would intentionally set the intention going into meditation of going back to that timeline, in my life, then journaling about it. And I remember getting the red journal because I had a journal each color for each of the chakras, and I'd start writing, and I felt it was stupid. So it was like allow the pen to become your microphone. I remember hearing that. Allow the pen to become your mic. So I wrote that down. Allow the pen to become your microphone. And then I wrote, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm journaling. My name is Anne. I just kept writing, my name is Anne. I know it sounds silly, but it wasn't because something magical came out of that because I could not remember before, say, my communion. My communion was my earliest memory. So I was like 7 or 8 years of age. So I couldn't go before that. But when I did the meditation and it was all intentional of going into root chakra, my first question to myself was, um, talk to me about your earliest memory. And of course, I went to my communion day and I was able to write about the texture of my dress, the shawl, the knitted shawl, the flowers, the bees on the flowers, the tulip, everything about that day. There was pages and pages and pages. And before I knew it, I was going deeper. I was going deeper. And over time, I was able to go back to a time where my sister was feeding me a bottle.
Wow.
I know. So it was, it allowed me to go into those spaces like that. And then, of course, the sacral chakra, 7 to 14 years of age, and going into that era of my life and memories there, I was writing about everything. And
Mhm.
that's how my process and that's how it unfolded for me. And I didn't know that I had that gift, this gift that I have now of writing the scribe and, you know, the words just came so easily for me. I was just listening to it and hearing the pen was just going and going. I was just writing at the kitchen table, like they'd be all gone to bed and I'd be still there with a little lamp, and just writing, writing, writing. And are you coming to bed? It's like, no, I need to finish this. I'll be up in a few minutes. Like I was just that was just my primary focus because I just wanted to work through myself and understand why I was feeling so low, I suppose. I wanted
Mhm.
to get to the bottom of it, you know?
And what would you say was the bottom of it? What was it? Was it just many things? Was
Yeah,
there?
it was many things. Like I was struggling with, the identity, when you become a mother, you
Mm.
don't have that manual that says this is what you have to do to be the perfect mother, and we're all aiming for perfection, and I know now it's not about perfection, it's about connection. But I struggled with that big time, but it was, having the kids, it changed everything for me. Like it really did, because they were my driving force because I didn't want them to feel the way I was feeling or
Mhm.
to go through what I went through. I wanted to change things. I wanted to change because I actually thought I was a bad person, but I knew deep down that I was actually quite good, but I just couldn't. I was so angry. I was so frustrated, when the kids were young, I just felt, it was easy Mark getting up, going to work. He's gone 12 hours every day. That was difficult,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
don't think people realize, your brain goes to mush when the kids are small because it's all goo goo gaga. And you forget the lingo with dealing with people outside. I didn't want to deal with people. I didn't, you know, I went into depression. It was just like, I'd go out and I'd want to talk about the kids. No one wants to talk about the kids. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in this weird space. It's just, and I couldn't understand why anyone didn't want to listen to me talking about my kids. I was like, what? So it was just like, no, but I didn't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah. It's become your whole world.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, what's happening to me? And it was a different lingo. You're going back down into that. And then, of course, your kids are vibrating. I know this now. So they're vibing at root chakra stuff. So, of course, they were bringing me back down to healing. You know, it will always go back to family. It will always go back to the core of
Yeah.
everything for you. Yeah. So there was a lot of work. I did it though.
Yeah.
Nobody can say you didn't do it. I did it, and I've never had a surgery since. Since I
Amazing.
started. Yeah, I was always in surgeries. I was always having problems physically with my body.
So we mentioned the scribe. Now tell us, because I know you have got two amazing books out there. So tell us about your books. What
Okay.
inspired you to write them? All of that.
Well, it was COVID. And I had decided I just wanted to prove to myself this whole manifestation. I just wanted to see in 9 months, because 9 months a baby, if I could do it within 9 months and have it done within that year. So I just wanted to prove that to myself. So just say I started in the start of astrology year, Aries energy. So I wrote about fire. Every single day, I wrote about the element of fire. I wrote about the work that we need to do with that chakra because it's connected to the element of fire. The tarot cards that are connected. I was just doing my research and then I would write down my understanding of it. The planets, the chakra, the tarot cards, uh, the work that needs to be done. So everything was about fire in that month. And then in Taurus energy, it was all about earth and so forth, the water. So I kept writing parts of the chapters as the 9 months was going. And then, of course, the final trimester that they call it, which is the most difficult. It's like delivering a baby, the work that needs to be done. But I did it. I just wanted to do that as well. So it was the first of the following year that it was a physical thing and it was published. I self-published it.
Good. And then, so that was forces, hidden
Yeah.
forces.
Yeah.
And then you've got hidden senses. So tell us about that.
So one is the Hidden Forces is a dark book, dark cover book. So it's kind of like from darkness into light because Hidden Senses then is a white, bright colored book. So this is all about spirit. So it's all about the chakras internal, and then it moves into the energy of, you working with the energy outside of you and what we are all capable of, and it's got the affirmations, it's got little exercises in there as well, and it breaks down the clear senses for people as well. So they're very much connected. They're like brother and sister. They really are. So definitely got more books in there for sure.
That was going to be my next question. What's the next one?
I'm not too sure. Well, I'm actually working on one at the moment for Spirit Social.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah, so I'm doing a little write up on that. So that's at the moment. But you know what? I could just go into my page here and I could have a book, because I write all the time. If I'm
Yeah.
struggling really bad, I will I'll just take it from here and see whatever comes out and I'll read it back and go, wow. Oh my God. I'm just trying to process something.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So, hidden forces and hidden senses, where can people get them?
They can get them on Amazon. They can get them from my webpage. Yeah, they really help the students. So for Reiki 1, I wrote Hidden Forces, and Reiki 2, Hidden Senses would link into that. But I have workbooks and manuals written for everything that I'm teaching.
So, the next one's going to be the one for the masters then.
Yes, the one for the masters. There's
Oh
a
my goodness.
Yeah, so I do the masters over 2 weeks. I don't know how any teachers can do this over a weekend. I just couldn't. I couldn't put it all in together. And I said, no, do you know when you get a manual and you just put it on a shelf after a weekend and you don't really read it? So in my Reiki 2 and Reiki Masters, we do study. We break down that book, and if you don't understand anything, let's open it up. Let's talk about it and make sure that they have an understanding about it.
I love it. Great. Now you mentioned a little mention in there about tarot. So when did your journey with tarot start?
So my intention with tarot, Hannah, was for personal development, for psychic awareness, and definitely taught me loads about this world. You know, the minor arcana keys is more internal, it's your personal story, and then the major arcana keys are the life lessons, or the curveballs, or the challenges. And just say I'm in a situation, I'll think of a card, or spirit will give me a card and be like, oh, this is what's happening here. So there's an association there. They're like paint by numbers. They show you what the energy looks like. It's up to you to go into the feeling of it. So just say I'm in the car with the kids in the morning, Jodie and Jessica, and we're going, that's the Three of Cups energy. You know, we're just chatting, we're having a laugh, or, you know, it's just depends on what's going on, that you can have that association. And then it just teaches you about psychic energy, which is all about here, what's happening here for you in the physicality of things.
I love it. I know you do a lot of beautiful people should follow you on social media because you do your daily readings and they're so lovely and amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So we've also had our little foray together into, I know you've been working with me on your evidential mediumship and you're
Oh,
and working into that. And
yeah.
of course, as listeners will know, but just a reminder, I am coming to Dublin, will be next month. Yay! I can't wait to see you in person again
Wait, yeah.
for an evidential weekend teaching. But tell us about your journey with evidential. How has that impacted you on your quest?
So you want to know yourself? I think mediumship, it's just kind of a calling. It's not, you know, I'm choosing that because I think that's the ultimate work when it comes to healing. It's the ultimate you facing you. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to uncover. I want to know where I fit in this world, you know, and I'm sure it's like that for everybody else. Where do I fit in here? How do I fit in here? So I just want to believe in myself. I want to trust myself. And that's where the evidential mediumship has come in for me. But you gave me a permission slip. You made it accessible for me.
Good.
And I signed up to Elevate 2 years ago. And I was in the class and I called you aside and I was like, I think I'm in the wrong class, you know? And you were like, no, you're
Yeah.
in the right class. This is where you're meant to be. I was so close. It was just like, oh my God, can I do this? And it was the right class, you know? It was just like, wow, I'm doing it. I'm in it, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, I
Mm.
do know. It's such a me versus me energy, isn't it? Doing
Oh,
evidential mediumship. Like
yeah,
it's all there is. So people who are listening, they
yeah.
may be thinking, you know what? I've never had a healing session. I don't know. Should they? And what would you say to them? How should they prepare? Is there anything they need to do?
So when somebody books in for a treatment, I'll get an email maybe, I'd like to book in. I said, yeah, no problem. And I would advise them to drink plenty of water in the meantime and to allow whatever it is that they're going through to come to the surface, or what it is that they feel that is stopping them from moving forward in that stuck energy. And we all get in there that from time to time. And they'll do that, and I'll just meet them where they're at, and then we'll unpack if they feel comfortable to unpack that. But when they're talking to me, I'm able to associate it into a chakra, associate it into an organ. Like that's the way it's going for me, you know. And I don't know whether you know the Nurofen ad, and you just see the circle around where the pain is in the body. That's what I'm seeing now at the moment. That when I'm given the Reiki. It's just going to that. It's very intelligent energy.
Mhm.
But ultimately, I'm just holding a space. They're doing the work. I'm just holding a space where they're disconnected from everything external. I'll have a little chat with them. We'll assess where they are, what they're doing. And when they finish, they're just like, what the hell? And I'm like, I know this is going to feel weird. They're just completely present. I'm really good at bringing people into the present moment. Maybe I might talk them through a meditation or stuff like that, but every one of them is different. And there's definitely something that happens, that shifts, that changes. I'll check in with them after 3 days to see how they're doing. Um, and they're leaving, they're like, the ready break child. I call it the
Yeah.
Reiki break child. So they're glowing. So when they come in, the shoulders are heavy, and we've got to build up a bit of trust with them. So have a nice little chat with them beforehand. Educate them a little bit about the chakras. A lot of them don't know about the chakras. And
Mhm.
I do a little imagery with them, draw a little picture, explain about the chakras, and explain what I am seeing for them. And I'll tell them that I'm going to be working with that, and we're going to let it go together. We're going to work with it together. So it's not just me, it's them too. So I involve them in the process.
I love it. I love it. Is
Mm.
there any time where you think somebody wouldn't benefit from healing?
Well, if there's a lot too much going on that they would need to go to a therapist for psychology and stuff like that. But the Reiki energy will lift up something that needs to come up for them. And if I don't feel that I have the knowledge, if I don't feel that I
Yeah.
know enough about it, I would send them to somebody. But it just depends on where they are. But they're when they're ready, they're going to show up. Reiki will find you when you need finding. As simple as that. Do your research on the teacher, do your research on, um, find and say me on social media and stuff like that, and go, oh, well, I feel there's a resonance there. I'll go and talk to this one. That you want to feel safe. You want
Yeah.
to, yeah, that's really important, but you can't open the door and you be like, hi, yeah, how's it going? You just have to be really meet them where they're at. And it's a big deal for somebody to show up. It's very brave of them to do that. And yeah, I'll take good care of the person that steps forward. I really do.
I remember when I first went for Reiki and I was so overloaded, overwhelmed. I don't really, I mean, I have no doubt that the Reiki healer gave me healing, but
Mm.
from my point of view, it actually was just about learning to be. It
Yeah.
was learning about surrendering. And I don't mean surrendering like we talk to spirit, I mean surrendering to that moment. No distractions, allowing myself to just be held by somebody else in that energy, to be in that space. That was a massive, massive process and learning thing for me because I was so overwrought and wound and tightly bound. And I will never forget. In fact, we were talking about this, me and some of my students. I can't remember if you were there the other day when they were saying, I've just healed someone and it felt like it had gone up a level. And I said, was it session 3 or 4? And they said session 4. And I said, yeah, because I think sometimes people need a few just to get used to the process.
Yeah.
You know, do you find there's anything like that? Like if people come, do you get people that come on a regular basis? Do you
I
find that works?
Yes, I do have regulars that come. But they would say to me when they're leaving, do I need to come back straight away? And I always, I don't like to say to them, yeah, you have to come back. So I say, listen, whatever, we'll talk about the moon phase, and I'd say maybe the next moon phase like this, you might feel the same. I'm not going to tell you when to come back to me. You come back to me when it feels right for you. But I went to Reiki before, and the person that I got Reiki off had said to me, so I think I'll book you in for the next 6 sessions. And I was like, I'm not booking in for the next 6 sessions. I just thought that was like, what the hell? So because of that, and I learned from that, I'm like, I don't say that to any of them, but they will know themselves. But I do have regulars that come back absolutely for the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you find there's a difference in people getting sort of used or acclimatized to the energy, however you want to phrase it?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
it's
big
amazing.
shift, there's a big change, and they're more inspired. And
Yeah.
they're it just even sitting talking about stuff, and that's even the Reiki as well. you know Even before they go in and they lie down on the plinth, that's just the icing on the cake, that they have that little time out. That's self-care on a soul level. But
Yeah.
even just the chat of them bringing up to the surface what it is that they want to talk to, and we'll always find that common ground and go, yeah, like she'll know or he'll know exactly what to do when they leave.
Yeah.
It just stays with them. And a lot of people that come into me for the one-on-one, they'll sign up for the teaching, because I'm like, you can do this as well. And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, you can. I'm just holding a space for you, educate yourself about the chakras, or they might buy the book. They get a lot from, well, I think so.
Yeah.
That they get a lot from the one-on-ones.
I love it. I love it. Okay. I have got a quick fire round just for kicks.
Okay.
So quick answers. Tell me what you think.
Okay.
We're going to lull you into a false sense of security. No, I'm only joking. Sunrise, sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Okay. A chakra you feel is your current biggest learning area.
Solar.
Solar. Favorite tarot card.
Strength.
Book you're currently reading or one you'd recommend.
Medical Medium by Anthony Williams, sitting here beside me.
Love it. Um, meditation quiet time. How many minutes per day, if any?
Oh, very seldom. Only if I really, really need it. Very seldom.
One mantra or affirmation you use regularly.
I love you to myself.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
The one word you hope a client leaves your session with.
Gratitude. Peace. Sorry, that was two.
Fail. If you weren't doing energy healing, your workshops, your books, what do you think you'd be doing? What would alternative life Annie be doing?
Probably hairdressing. You know,
Oh,
I was always kind of in the hairdressers. Yeah, hairdressing.
I love it. Favorite way to unwind when you're off duty?
Reading. Reading. I love reading.
Yeah, well, the scribe has got to fill up their vocabulary. Last one piece of spiritual or healing advice you'd say to your 10-year-old self.
Oh, my 10-year-old self. It's okay. It's going to be okay. Trust the process. It's going to be okay.
It is.
Yeah.
So, last question. What
Yeah.
is next for Annie T? Have you got any idea where Spirit are putting you next?
Well, evidential mediumship is new on the webpage at the moment. And anytime I go, no, I can't do this, a phone call will come in or somebody will come in, and I was like, oh my God. So that's new. That's huge. That's massive for me.
Mhm,
It's the core, it's the absolute core of healing, I believe.
mhm.
So evidential medium is on the table at the moment. That's my primary focus of delivering healing through that form.
I love it. And of course, in the very short term future, tonight, obviously this will be released the day after, but you are doing a beautiful monthly live transformation meditation for the gang on Spirit Social, which is just a lovely way to sit in that healing energy, isn't it?
Oh, I love it myself, because I'm getting to be in it myself. And thank you, Hannah, for the opportunities that you've given me, what you see in me. I'm like, I don't know, I don't know, but I know I've done a lot of work. But thank you for everything. You definitely opened me up to an awful lot more and belief in myself, as a mentor, as a teacher. I think you're amazing. So a lot of gratitude and love for you.
Well, thank you. And ditto. That's what I see back in you. So aren't we the dream team? I will put your website details in the show notes so that anybody that wants to find out more about you, book in for some evidential mediumship, find out about healing and learning with you, they'll get all the details. But thank you so much, Annie, for your time.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate it, Hannah.